in literally in the nick of time as it went live. Like you did not miss one single second, sir.
Yeah. Well, um, yeah, I made it.
Well, good job. Good. How are you doing today? That was maybe not
Not
even a
bad.
great
Really
question.
not bad. Actually, what's that?
I said from your initial reaction, I thought, well, maybe that was not a very good question for me to ask.
No, no, I'll be honest with you. What I was doing, I was at a, detail supply store. So, talking to him about carrying OP. So that's what I was doing. And actually, they're right here, not too far away from me. So just even making, networking and making the connections and talking to like a detail supply store in the area, you get a better understanding of of the detailers in that area because it's like anything. It's about the environment and where you're working at. And I'm new. I've only been here 7 months. So understanding what it means to be basically a Southern detail.
Man, that's really awesome. Um, so good job. What did you gain as an insight from the visit?
What I did gain from the inside of this visit was pretty much what we all know. Detailers love to talk, and it wasn't necessarily the store owner, it was one of his customers who was a detailer. The I'm talking to him, right? And as we're talking and basically it's just passing introductions and whatnot. And a customer comes in, and I just looked at him and said, "Hey, you got a customer. Why don't you take care of him? And I'll just look around." I did not think that was going to be 30 minutes of that guy standing there talking to him, but it was a detailer, and he came, it was pretty much anything and everything. And once in a while, there's a few detail topics thrown in, but yeah.
Yeah, those guys are just out there doing their day, living their life, and having somebody to talk to. A little shop talk is as meaningful to them as the product they're putting in their hand.
Oh, 100%. It really is. And again, I'm gaining insight, although I'm running low on time at the same. But yeah, it's raining here. So you know what it's like when it's raining, right? Um, Typically the phone's not ringing, whatever. Might as well go make a supply run. And that's exactly what this detailer was doing. He had showed up at the shop to go ahead and get some product.
Awesome. Well, and also in that, what kind of in because we sell supplies also, right? But we're selling more
Mhm,
online only, so this is in a specific market. What were the
mhm.
products, and were there any like surprises or aha moments of like things that are selling or moving that you either were or were not suspecting?
Um, yeah, so the one thing that didn't surprise me is the detailer had come in there and he's asking about a product, and what's the first thing he does? Unscrew unscrews the cap and takes a big whip. And I'm like, dude, and this guy's already in his 60s, right? And I'm like, you don't need to be sniffing any more chemicals. If you've been doing this as long as I have, get your nose away from it. Quit inhaling the chemicals. You've done it enough in your lifetime.
Yeah. But interesting that that's like the first thing that somebody goes through and I mean it explains why we had a little bit of a delay in getting our spiffy back up and running because of that scent that everybody has grown to love so much is so important.
It's vital. And I think, when you look at, like even when it comes to marketing, right? I look at the tunnel washes when you're talking about smell. So all those extra things that they want you to add on when you're going through a tunnel wash, typically, I'll just be very honest, that stuff doesn't last anyway, right? So you're kind of pissing your money away. Um, but they rely on the smell of, like, say, the clear coat conditioners, the water-based ceramic coating that they're throwing on there, which isn't even, it's just It's basically a sealant with some SiO2 is all it is. But they rely on the smell, right? Because if that smell is really, really pleasant and appealing to you, you feel good about spending that 15 to $18 for that car wash to get all the extra stuff because you feel like you're doing something good. You're treating your car. If you're smelling it and it smells good to you, then it must be a good thing that you're doing. And it's just literally it's marketing. It's all about it. It's all about getting you to spend your money, and they do it through the power of smell
No. And the pretty colors of that foam that's going on there. You're like, well, it's pink and blue. It
and the
must be
lights
good. Yeah.
and the lights. I, is it a disco or is it a damn car wash? What is it? It's so hard to tell anymore.
Do you see the little video I shared recently from back in my detailing days where I used to take my detail van through the AM/PM touchless car wash. And so
Hmm.
I'm sitting in the line getting ready to go in, and my dog at the time, Spike, he was sitting in the seat next to me, and he was just like staring forward, and he was like whining and like very anxious and like whining, but he was like a really beefy bulldog. And I'm like,
Hmm.
what could scare this beast so bad? And then I pan the camera forward, and it's the tunnel car wash, and that was funny.
Yeah, it's really weird that it went from being a car wash to being a dance floor. And I think it's insane. But apparently it does work. I don't know about you there in San Diego, but in Omaha, Nebraska, where I moved from, I mean, dude, nothing but car washes everywhere. And they all had some type of light gimmick, different smells, whatever. And of course, it's all about the membership. And I think what's funny is most people don't understand this when they're with their membership, right? During the summer when it's a higher volume, they speed up the tracks so they can get more people pushed through and more cars pushed through. Well, if you're pushing through at a quicker pace than what that soap and everything else is designed for, it's not sitting on the surface as long, right? It's not really doing its job at all because you're moving through it faster. The other thing is, if it's not sitting there on the vehicle as long, there's not as much lubricant. So when you have all those brushes going around and around like this, it's not a lubricated surface, so it's scratching the hell out of your car.
You know, another thing. Oh, there we go. My power was getting low on the old lappy there. Um, with those car washes, they also use some pretty harsh chemicals. I did Angel's headlights on the Mazda, and she went to the
Mhm.
gas station and went through the little car wash at the gas station. Yeah, yeah. I I do it most of the time. Anyway, the car had just gotten polished the headlights out, so they were nice and clear. The
Mhm.
chemicals that shot onto it spotted them up all over, and it was just like really harsh. So I would imagine caustic, but it literally
Mhm.
burnt that plastic just going through one time. And I was like, I don't think that you should run the car through that one anymore. Too much.
It, well, again, if the dilution ratios aren't right when you go into that car wash and those chemicals are not diluted properly, yes, it can do damage. It's not just necessarily the bristles, but it can do damage. And that can be said for touchless too. If the chemicals aren't ratioed right, yeah, you can have damage done.
Now, do you have any memories of as a kid of going through car washes? I know you guys lived out in the
I
middle of
do.
farmland, so maybe yours is going to be a little different. But I recall as a kid that they had this car wash and it was shaped like a great big whale. You went into its mouth and came out the backside. But it was like the coolest thing as a kid to go through this. Perhaps you guys had like a cow or a pig or something car wash that you
Yeah,
went
we didn't
through.
go through the mouth of the cow and then out its ass in. No, Dan, we didn't do that. It was very, I remember it very well. It was in Denison, Iowa. And it was a full service car wash, big bristles. All I remember is the big, big bristles coming down that that one column that comes down, hits the front of the vehicle, works its way all the way up to the windshield, up over the car and back around. So all the crap and everything that's on the very front of your car gets picked up, and then just rolled and rolled and rolled all the way to the back. But as a kid, yeah, I thought it was pretty damn cool though.
Yeah. And so the old car washes, the older technology, I believe they did have like a nylon bristle, long bristle kind of a brush that just seems like, pretty crazy of something to put onto your car. Um, and then a lot of the modern ones are a lot safer, but I think maybe you pointed this out last week that even if the brush mechanism is like a more of a neoprene kind of like a almost like a wetsuit material,
Mhm.
the damage can happen from the cars that are coming in before you on those things. So even if the technology is safer now, you still run the risk of somebody with a muddy car with like little rocks and stuff that might have been in it going through and picking some of that up and then smashing it against your car. I can't tell if you're just really intensely staring at me right now or if you've frozen up. I'm going to say that that means you have frozen up. Hopefully, that we are still running for everybody here. I will take this little moment of Frozen Damon to say hey to people who have said hey to us. So, Paulo, greetings from Portugal, out there on the other side of the pond, doing some stuff with Owner's Pride and I believe Leather Repair Company. That's pretty exciting stuff. My stepmom just went to Portugal and my stepbrother. Um, Not that that has any relevance to you. They went to Lisbon. I would like to go one day. Kenny Shannon, how are you doing, sir? Thank you for stopping by. We got Robert Ruppnow says hello, Dan and Damon. Robert Ruppnow, I will tell you that yes, I am using the cup that you gave me in Denver. Thank you so much. And hey, my sister's on here. Um, Lynn Williams, that is my sister. Thank you for joining for a few minutes. And then I got Michael Babsky. Hey, Dan. Hey, Michael. You know what's something interesting, Damon? You're kind of coming back on here. You got a little bit of rough connection, but I see you moving, so I think that you're with me. Michael Babsky is an Army recruiter, and some of the stuff that we were talking about is in sales process and stuff. He sent me a message, and he's like, "I use this same methods in my in recruiting." I thought that was pretty darn interesting. Are you back with me or no? Okay, so Damon's gonna jump off and try to reconnect. I got you. I'll be here waiting, and I'll just continue to carry on with you guys until he comes back. Oh, technical difficulties. What you gonna do? If anybody out there wants to throw a comment in or has any questions, we can kind of start gearing those up also. What we really are outlined for today, for this little talk, is going to be on ROI. And we did talk about ROI a few weeks ago, but it was a little bit more of thinking of the services that you were offering. So I kind of wanted to open this one up and expand it to be not only for just the service. There you are.
Yeah, I have no idea. None.
Yeah. Fresh and new and back.
Yeah, it's like take two.
Yep. So I don't know where the heck we got to in that conversation. I think we were talking about those car washes and how
Yep.
even if they're safer technology now, you're just, you don't know what went through that thing before you, and especially where you live, where they're going through snow and salt and ice on the roads and stuff. It's a mess.
It's a sand and the gravel, and here's the other thing. When you look at the inside of the fender wells today with most vehicles, they are carpeted to soundproof it, right? So now all that gravel, dirt, whatever that your wheels are kicking up, not to mention even your brake dust, is getting stuck within there. And those bristles go into the wheel wells, right? As it's spinning, it's going in there. It literally can grab it and then pull it alongside the rest of your car until it gets to the next one. Not only that, but they're not self-cleansing. So, like what you were saying before, if you had somebody that came in that just went mudding or something, right, or just came off of a heavy rock road, all that stuff stays within their wheel wells, and now it's still there. Plus, you kind of create a vortex because they're spinning so fast. It lifts that stuff up. Anything that's light debris, it'll lift it up. It if you're if you really don't care about the finish of your vehicle and you're just more concerned about the convenience of it all, great. That's perfectly fine. If the finish of your vehicle is something that's very important to you, then when you go through these and, say a month or two go down the road and the sun hits your paint job just right, and you're wondering where the hell did all these scratches come from? This is where they're coming from. And you'll notice that there's going to be a certain pattern. Typically, it's all horizontal, right? And then as you get lower down onto the panels, like the lower part of your doors, the lower part of the fenders and the rear quarters, you're going to notice that it gets a lot more dull because that's where all that heavy debris really got just slammed up against your paint job.
And an interesting segue that I don't know if you did that on purpose or not, but we were going to kind of talk about some. I was just kind of teeing this up before as you were jumping back on. We talked about ROI a few weeks ago, and we kind of really focused that on the detailer side of maybe like their service or the tool that they're using. But I kind of want to expand on that and talk about the ROI for car care services. So if you're a customer, whether you're a do-it-yourself customer, or maybe you're a guy who's using a professional detailer, or you're going to a car wash, or you're somebody who just buys a car and drives it and does not do anything to it ever. A little bit of the difference on the ROI of what you putting a little bit of money and effort into that car and keeping it so it looks better. Did you just get really intense and are staring at me, or are you frozen again? You're frozen again. I was like, man, why is he mad dogging me? And then you weren't mad dogging me at all. At least not right now. I don't know why you're frozen. I'm gonna kick you out of here. If you hit the button again, you'll probably come back, and we'll keep trying. Yes, sir. We are definitely being hammered by the internet connectivity gods today. It seems a little bit crazy. Um, so I'm going to kind of keep just barreling forward a little bit through this. We'll see if he is going to be able to make it back in here. And this is this is why traditionally I do a recorded podcast that I edit and take care of, because I have a little bit more control over this stuff, which I don't have much control over what's going on. But I do have a lot of show notes and stuff that we can talk about. So let's just keep kind of barreling on with this. So something is wrong. Damon's lights also flickered, and so they don't know if somebody hit a pole or what it is. Obviously, his internet is a little bit iffy for right now. So I'll just carry on with this one solo. I ain't scared. If you guys have any questions, since I have turned into solo, please do type them in the box here, and I would absolutely do my best to answer any of them. And technology is cool until it's not. You are so right, my sister. And when I say my sister, I mean my sister. Okay, so we're talking about the ROI on car care itself. So if you have a car, I guess the easiest way to look at this is if you go on Kelley Blue Book, which is a pretty traditional thing for people to kind of value their car. If you're going to go buy a car, a used car, you're probably going to go on kbb.com and see what the price range for that car is. There are a few other services, but I think KBB is the bigger one. And what you'll notice on there's a chart, and it's like poor, average, and good, condition. And so where does your car fall on there? There's a pretty big variable in the cost of the car or the value of the car for cars that are in great condition, excellent, as opposed to poor. So I think that if we just think of this as it's a chart going from, let's see, if you're looking at me, it's going to go from your left to the right, so from poor to excellent. And we'll talk about those tiers. On excellent, that's a top 10% value. Most cars don't fall into that range. Even if you think your car looks pretty darn good, it's a primo, right? So what would that entail? That would be it would have regular maintenance had been done on the car, and you have records of it. So all of your your 10 and 20 and 40 and 70,000 mile oil changes and services done, documented. Kind of one of the cool things about going to your dealership to get that work done is it keeps it really centralized. If you do like I just did recently, and you have, your friend who's a mechanic, the guy who's my mechanic for this car, he just changed the brakes and shocks and did some other stuff on one of our cars. Now, none of that information went forward to Carfax. So that's, something to think of. If you have records of all the services on your car, there is a value to that. And you're paying for it anyway. So kind of think as you're doing it as the little bit of money that you might be saving by having one of your friends do work for you that doesn't get reported. Are you actually saving money on that? The exterior would be in pristine condition. I'm going to put an N on there. Would be in pristine condition. No scratches. Very, very light squirrel marks, no dents, no chips in the paint. The paint's not faded. We're talking a garage queen that really has just been sitting in the garage. If it has had a ceramic coating or PPF installed on it. One of the interesting things with Owner's Pride ceramic coatings, all of them get listed on Carfax. And as a matter of fact, I believe that we may be working towards even getting our non-warranted coatings to get listed on there, because there is still a great value if you go to buy somebody's car and it's used and you see that they've put a ceramic coating on it. You know that they've probably taken better care of the car, first of all, if they've spent the money on that. Second, it's just going to be in better condition because ceramic coatings are pretty much impervious to acids and enzymes like you'd find in bug guts and bird poop stains and UV fade and all that. And even in the case where if you know that there has been a ceramic coating on there, it could almost be a sacrificial layer. So like damage will not be down in the softer paint, but it'll be on that ceramic coating. So it's much easier to fix. The interior would be spotless and smells fresh. So, stains and holes in the seat and threads coming apart, all that stuff, not going to be in the excellent. And again, the records, right? So you get a resale boost of 10 to 20% higher for a car that's in excellent condition. Although very few cars are in that excellent condition. And then right under that, you have good. And that would be a car that's had regular washes and waxes. So it's been maintained, at least, had the dirt knocked off of it. It might have some minor cosmetic flaws, like a couple little tiny chips or little small scratches or swirl marks. Your interior would be clean with minor wear and tear. So no great big holes or huge stains or anything crazy. But, the car's been sat in. You can tell that there's been a butt sliding over that bolster in the driver's seat every time somebody got in and got out. And maybe they have the basic maintenance records for that. So your oil changes, some of the records, maybe not as comprehensive of like everything got done at one mechanic and it was all reported to Carfax and you have all those records. You get a 5 to 10% boost in your sale. So in that top tier, from good to excellent, you had a 10 to 20%. Then from your good to the one below it, which is in fair condition, you get a 5 to 10% boost. What's a car in fair condition going to look like? Well, that's going to be infrequent washing. The paint shows wear and tear. There's oxidation, water spots, noticeable cosmetic damage, dents, chips, scratches, interior stains, odors. Maintenance records are incomplete or just missing. And you're going to get a drop under the average of 5 to 15%. And then we have a poor, that's a car that has not been taken care of really at all. Just uncared for, maybe no washes, maybe a hoarder lived in it, maybe you got interior damage with stains and animal smells in there. And that's going to be a resale drop of 20% or more from average. So you can see where this really, really big swing is in taking care of your car. So as we were going to kind of talk about the ROI for a person taking care of their car, this is where you can see that. People, their perception, which becomes their reality, every time is going to be, if something's shiny, they're going to think that it's worth more money, right? Maybe you got a problem with the engine, but if that car looks really good, it still is going to hold a premium value. It's kind of crazy how people are like that. If I was going to go buy a car, I would do my due diligence. That is for sure. So let's say how we can figure that out. So if we take the original purchase price of the car, and we'll just kind of use nice even numbers, say the car was $50,000, and you have your regular maintenance costs, what might something like that be? Well, we talked about multiple channels of how you get that taken care of. Obviously, the most premium way to take care of your car is going to be to go to a professional detailer, and that's kind of our main bread and butter of people that we work with. And they're going to take the most time and effort, and they're called detailers, for goodness sake, so they're going to do a really good job on your car. So you want to figure out what the regular maintenance costs are going to be monthly and annually. So say we're spending $100 a month, I'm just going to kind of keep even numbers to hopefully keep this straight in my brain. So say you spend $100 a month on getting your car washed a couple times by your detailer. That's $1,200 a year times however many years that you own it. You got your special care costs like ceramic coatings, dent repairs, paint protection film, all of those things. And then you have your resale condition. So those are all of your inputs. And then the outputs for that would be the lifetime maintenance of the cost. So the total amount, as long as you own that car, on how much you've spent on maintaining it, whether that's going through a tunnel car wash, buying chemicals to do it yourself. I would definitely work your time in there too. Or going to a professional detailer or a tunnel car wash, or however you are taking care of your car. So you add that up, and then you have your resale value boost, and that's the estimate that we talked about. Again, that was for a car in excellent condition. Over average is going to have a 10 to 20% premium boost on it. You're going to be good condition is 5 to 10%, fair condition negative 5 to 15, and then you have more than 20% in a car that's in poor condition. Right? So you have your resale boost minus the car costs, minus the care costs that you spent over the time, and then you divide that by the car care costs. And that is what is going to give you the ROI on what you spent maintaining that car. And for the purposes of what we're talking about here, we're really just focusing in on the appearance of your car and getting it detailed more than the mechanical side, because if you know me, you know I'm not a mechanic. You see right up there is my gas tank. And I'll tell you a funny story. So this is my hot rod right here. I have thought that it was broken 2 times. Completely broken. Grab somebody on the phone. One time it's Kevin Hodge. One time it's my dear, dear friend, Matt Gregory. And they're trying to help walk me through it. And they're listening. And they're like, sounds like it's out of gas. And I'm like, oh, no, it's not out of gas. And I'll be darned, it was out of gas both times. So that's we call this wrenching for Dan Williams right here. So I'm not talking about the mechanics part. That's all I'm saying. Okay, so let's show the correlation between the money spent on car care and the increased value. Or the maintenance log multiplier, or the real world comparisons. Let's just go right to that. So if we have 2 identical 5-year-old cars, one of them spent $1,500 on car care, and that car sold for $1,800. And that's a car that's in pristine condition. A neglected condition, this is going to be maybe in the fair or the lower good to the fair. They spent $500 on car care. They just didn't really put in the effort. Maybe they didn't get the ceramic coating. And they sold that car for $1,500. there's a net gain of $1,500 higher resale, offset by $1,000 of additional investment. So it really, really does pay. Not only do you not look like a dirtbag driving down the street, you can be proud sitting in your car. And as expensive as cars are nowadays, I don't know why the heck anybody wouldn't want to take care of it. It drives me crazy. I cannot go around in a dirty car. Let's see, we got a couple more comments on here. From what we've seen, people lose money by not knowing what a real detailer can do from them. That's from JMC Detailing. You're absolutely correct. So that's kind of what we're talking about here. That is definitely the premium way to take care of your car. And if you guys are detailers, for the guys who are detailers that are on here right now, do you offer a maintenance plan to your customers? And I'll say that because when I had my detailing business, I was mobile, and my maintenance people they were truly the bread and butter of my business. Being mobile, if you didn't have work, you could get stuck sitting at home and really worried. But the way I scheduled myself was every day I had at least a couple of washes. So I was always getting out and taking care of a little bit of work. And, like motion or action leads to action. I think something similar to that is the phrase that I want to say. And just by getting out there and working, people would see me driving down the road. So my phone would ring. My van was like a big billboard. Or they would see me working on somebody's driveway and they would stop and ask for a card. So it just always kept me taking care and not stuck with no work. I didn't ever have one of those skunked days and that would be really demoralizing. True story. Let's see. Drew Carter says, I have maintenance and fleet discounts. Yeah, we'll extrapolate on that a little bit. Type into here and tell me a little bit about what you have. So the way that I worked it out was, everything that I'm talking about here kind of I conveyed to my customer. That first of all, they were probably more keen on caring for their car because they were calling a detailer. But, I would definitely talk about this. It's just a really great conversation to have. And it's a very viable sales tool for you to tell your customer, if you go to sell that car after you've owned it for a few years and you're going to get multiple thousands of dollars more, it's kind of a no-brainer. What I would do is I wouldn't take anybody as a maintenance customer unless they either got a full detail or a ceramic coating. If they got one of those two services, then I would take them as a maintenance customer, generally as an every other week wash. Back in the days when I used to do wax, and oddly enough, Owner's Pride does not even have a wax product. But back when I used to do wax, I would wax the car every quarter and do a full detail once a year and do a wash every other week. When you start doing the ceramic coatings, you don't need to have that service in there. But the car's a lot easier to take care of for you because it does have a ceramic coating. All the dirt releases easier and just makes the job a whole bunch easier. And you can do pretty darn good on that, building those long-term relationships. I believe that Dustin still has a few of the customers that I had as maintenance customers for the past 20 years. So not only is the ROI good for the customer, but having that maintenance plan works really, really well for you. Now, there are some other kind of maintenance things or fleet accounts where you're doing generally a little bit lower quality of work because it's a fleet account and maybe they're work vehicles. I used to take care of a pharmagen called BD Bioscience, and once a month I would show up and I'd wash a great big old box truck and a couple vans, a couple pickup trucks, and an SUV and a flatbed steak truck. So it was a pretty nice day of work. And every every month when I went there, one of those would get clayed and waxed. So it was just kind of on a really solid rotation. Uh-huh. And Smile said smile. There is somebody whose name Smile, and the point that they made was to smile. And I feel like I'm smiling. Okay. So that's a pretty, just, if you can build it into your system and you can fit it in, it does definitely, I think having a maintenance plan is good. If you're a really small, like maybe a one-man show, it could be hard for you to fit that in if you're running, you know, a robust business doing PPF and ceramic coatings. And obviously those jobs are, you know, going to be a lot beefier. And holy macaroni, Drew, he was not messing around, but he threw it up here for me, so I'm going to give it to everybody here. He says his fleet detailing prices can vary depending on the type of service, the number of vehicles, and the location. An exterior wash only, a basic wash, can start at $45 per vehicle. That's a spot-free wash, degrease the wheels, soft hand wash. Interior detailing, which I would imagine is kind of vacuum and clean the inside windows. And that can be $150 to $199. Oh, here it is. It includes vacuuming, shampooing the carpets and seats. Boy, you got some really good prices here. Semi-truck detailing. I never have done a big rig. I know that we have a couple guys, Patrick Golay and Adam Moretta, that specialize in semi-trucks. And, I feel terrible because there's a fella in Canada, too, and I cannot think of your name. I think it's Patrick also. But he is up in Canada, and he does a lot of those big rigs, too. Seems like that would be really a neat thing to do. And let's see, 10th out of 73 streamers to smile and listen. So there is somebody whose name's Smile. All they do is go on to people streaming and say to smile to see if they smile. I guess you're doing your pretty good job of spreading positivity throughout the world. A smiler. Yeah, I guess that's an interesting way to spread a nice message. So, if it fits into your thing, think about this too. You spend money most likely to get these customers to come in. Now I'm going to kind of look at it for, you know, directly from the detailer's point of view. And if you are spending money on marketing to get people to come in, and they come in and you get one job from them, but you don't get any more jobs from them, you're really not maximizing your efforts. Keeping that customer, you know, whether it's an employee or a customer, if you're spending money to get them to come in the door, or you're spending money to train them, or whatever it is, you want to keep that customer and turn them into an advocate. Next week, we're going to do a really, really cool podcast. Dustin was buried today in busy. One of his employees had a tragedy in his family or his friends, so he was not in today. And so Dustin could not step away from the polisher, which is not usually the case. And then obviously Damon was having some technical difficulties, so we just kind of rolled through. But next week, we're going to talk about Never Lose an Employee again. It's going to be very focused on a book from Joey Coleman. If anybody wants to pick that book up and read it prior to us doing this episode, it's going to be really, really good. Joey Coleman, he was one of the lawyers in the Clinton administration. I've had him on a podcast before. He's written Never Lose a Customer Again, Never Lose an Employee Again. Just really, really cool things with a lot of great actionable items that you guys can use to fire up. And I know that my sister, I don't know if you're still on here or not, but she does not really listen to my podcast. And she did listen to the one that I did with Joey Coleman on Never Lose a Customer Again, and liked it so much that she even shared it with some of her management friends at the restaurant she was working at. So it was pretty cool. Pretty cool. It'll be a good one. A humdinger, if you will. Chris DiGiovanni, first from Puerto Rico. You know what? We just signed up Cadmiel Lopez as our distributor for Puerto Rico, and he's just got his order up and running. We're really excited to have a partner down there. We traditionally haven't sent products there, but now we've got somebody who is super into detailing and distribution and does PPF and training. And I think one of the coolest things about it is I hopefully will be able to go down there and visit to do a training with him. And I'm super excited about that. Okay, so let's just jump into our questions that were sent in by the emails that we sent out. And hey, if you do get one of the emails that we send out weekly and it just has questions on there, please do take a few minutes to answer those questions. So we have questions to do a Q&A with on here as well. If you guys have any questions that you want to throw out live, you can do that, and I would be more than happy to answer them or make up an answer if I do not know one. There, I smiled for you again, smile. All right, these are DIY questions first. How can I tell if my car needs a clay bar treatment? Done deal, Drew. Done deal. You will be on that list. So to tell if your car needs a clay bar treatment, if there is something that's called fallout that gets embedded in the clear coat of your car, and it can be little, generally pieces of ferrous oxide, little pieces of metal. And I always use the example, if you think you're driving your car down the road and you have your brake pads and calipers, the pads smash into the calipers and it makes all that brake dust that gets all over your wheels. Well, also, as you're driving down the road, there's a vacuum created in the backside of your car. So all of that brake dust settles down onto the car when you stop. You'll usually feel more of the fallout on the backside of the car, on your trunk and back bumper, than you do on the front because of that vacuum effect. So first of all, if you have a white car, you can see those little pieces of fallout. They might show up as little orange specks on the car. And oddly enough, if you have a black car, they show up as little light blue specks when you look at them real close. Yeah, I know that's true, but I do not know exactly why. If you feel the paint and it feels bumpy, it's supposed to feel nice and smooth. If it feels bumpy, that means that you have fallout embedded in there. A really kind of interesting little experiment. If you take a plastic baggie, a cigarette cellophane, a grocery bag, a Ziploc, you put it over your hand and you feel the same paint, it magnifies the heck out of it and you can feel that fallout. That is when you're going to want to use clay on your car. You can use clay on your car. I would use a light clay with some ceramic detailer or some OP Slick as a lubricant, and just do a nice light clay. If you do this regularly, it's not going to mar up your paint, and you can clay and just dry your car off. You're claying and sealing the car all at once, and that's a really, really great. If you use a heavier clay, it will mar the paint, and you will have to polish the paint afterwards. But essentially, it's going to shear off all of the ferrous oxides that are embedded in your clear coat. If you want to take that one step further, you take a product like OP Decon X, mist that onto the paint. It attacks all the ferrous oxides and just kind of melts them, kind of like the pores of your skin. Question number 2 from DIY. What's the best budget-friendly ceramic spray for beginners? You know, we have 2 ceramic detail sprays in our lineup, and I would highly suggest that you use Eco Wash to wash your car over car wash soap. If you know me, you know that I like Eco Wash the world. And for beginners, I'm going to say that probably Slick is going to be your best bet. It is the most friendly price point. We do have a 25% sale right now off of all of our detailing chemicals through Black Friday. So they're actually a really, really good deal right now. And I think we're going to look, we have the red, white, and blue bundle that we did for Veterans Day. That's a great car wash kit. Just a great car wash kit. As a matter of fact, if you're watching this, if you're one of the 3 people who are watching this at this moment, Getting somebody like a car lover, somebody who has a car that they take care of themselves, a nice maintenance wash kit with some eco wash, a blue sponge, some microfiber drying towel, and some slick is a pretty darn nice present. Alternatively, go to ownerspride.com, click on find an installer, and pick one of those installers, and I bet they're selling gift certificates. And that would be like giving somebody a new car with only one payment. Let's see. Drew says, I fell in love with Eco Wash and Slick so much that I created a detailed package of wash and shine. Yep, there you go. That's my jam right there. For sure. How do I avoid swirl marks when I'm washing my car? If the car is really dirty, you're going to want to do a pre-rinse on it first, no matter what you're using. You would be surprised at how much dirt Eco Wash can handle. But let's just say that we're just kind of talking in general. You've got a car that's pretty dirty. The safest thing that you can do is to either wash it or take some OP Eco Wash or car wash soap, put it into a foamer, foam it onto the car, let all that foam run off. So it's going to kind of grab everything, soften it up, and pull a whole bunch of it down. And then wash your car and, use either a microfiber towel that you're dipping regularly or a nice wash sponge. And then when you're done, as you're drying it off, use a drying aid, either a ceramic detail or a ceramic plus, as you're drying the car off with a nice soft microfiber towel. And that's about as good as it's going to get. Should I wax my car before winter, or is a sealant enough? Well, we don't even at Owner's Pride have wax product anymore. Like, it's just kind of an older technology that's not as long lasting, and we really feel that the sealant, the protection that you get from a sealant, which is a thinner layer, it's not going to wear off as easily as if you think of a wax or a candle or paraffin wax, just kind of melting off of the car. Sealant is going to last on there a bit longer and be a more hardy product for you. So I would say top protection is going to be putting a ceramic coating on your car, behind that a sealant, behind that a wax. With a wax or a sealant, I'm still going to, I'm pretty hip on using a sealant on my ceramic coated car every time I wash it. I just think it gives it the best look and the ultimate protection. Is there a difference between car shampoos, or can I use dish soap? It's kind of funny. This question is probably the most prolific question that we get from DIY type of people that we send out their questionnaire to. You remember there's I don't know, I'm perhaps older than you guys, but there used to be a commercial with Madge, and she's like, I'm soaking in palm olive, and she's like soaking her hands in it. And then we can contrast that with seeing them put Dawn onto pan and all the grease running away from it. But then again, they use it on ducks in oil spills, so it must be safe. I think that if you are going to, you might as well say, can I use some hair shampoo or my body wash to wash the car? I guess you could use any of those things. You could... Heck, you could take a bar of Irish Springs and rub it around in a wash rag and wash your car. You could wash it with any of that. But you know what? If you're going to do a job, they make chemicals that are specifically for that job. You're just going to be safest to do it. So in a pinch, if it was an emergency, I guess, yeah. But, just get the right tool for the right job. You could change a screw with a pair of pliers, but it's going to be easier and it's going to do the job more efficiently for you if you use the screw. So just get yourself some car wash soap or some Eco Wash, better yet, and get to washing. What's the easiest way to keep my wheels looking clean? Regular maintenance. 100% regular maintenance. If you put a ceramic coating on those wheels, the brake dust is going to come off easier. But number one, most important thing you can do is just get that brake dust off there every week or every other week. Don't let it sit on there for months and months. And if you're a detailer and you're detailing somebody's car, I'm just going to say this. If you're doing a detail in somebody's car and they've never taken the time to clean the inside of their wheels, they've never done it, it's not important to them, don't do it because it's not important to them and it's just going to get messed up again. It would probably look a lot better just to have a nice black interior of that wheel and take care of the wheel face. Can I apply ceramic spray in direct sunlight? You know, you can. If it is the ceramic detailer, however, you're going to want to not leave it sitting on there for too long and you're going to want to wipe it. So you could put it on, but then you're going to want to wipe it immediately. It will make high spots because it's based on the same chemistry as our ceramic coatings, which is really long lasting, so you'll make a mess. In general, if you can work on a car when it is not in direct sunlight, that's going to be ideal. Of course, you see me out here washing my car in the sun, that I do that on a lot of videos. And so you can do it. But when it comes to like a sealant, if it's a really strong ceramic sealant, you may want to not let it dwell too long. And you do not want to, if you're a DIY person, we do have some really cool opportunities for you to ceramic coat your own car. We have OP Pro and I have OPX Light. And the difference in those two coatings, OP Pro is a solvent-based coating. It's based on the same technology as our 3, 5, and 7-year coatings. And our OPX Light is a self-healing ceramic coating, which is really, really cool. I have OPX on the hot rod back here, and I am just impressed beyond all things with it. It is my favorite coating, for sure. It's just got such a deep, rich gloss. Oh, so good. And little scratches just kind of heal up when they sit in the sun. You know, you can't go in there and like run a screwdriver down the side of the car, but the little tiny wash swirls, they do not stand the test of time against OPX Light. And you can do that yourself. I've got a project coming up with a guy. You guys might want to look this fella up. His name is San Francisco 49ers dad. His name is Ruben. Apparently, the story is he is a huge San Francisco 49ers fan, and his daughter started making TikToks or Instagrams about him freaking out watching football games, and they kind of caught on social media. Now he gets flown to all the 49ers home games, and like they take him out on the center of the field, and he's like a big to-do, and he's got 1 million followers, etc., etc. My buddy Eddie did a ground up restoration on I believe a 65 Mustang for him. And he called Eddie and said that he paid a guy $100 to come over, a detailer, to clean his car up. And he said, I think I could do this myself. So Eddie connected him and me, and I'm going to go over to him. We're going to make a video, and we are going to DIY, use our products on his car, do some eco wash, decontaminate the paint, and put some OPX Light self-healing ceramic coating on there. And I'm going to have him do it, and I'm going to walk him through it. So I think it's going to be a super cool video, and I'm really excited. And that should happen in the next couple weeks, but then it takes a couple weeks to get it all edited. But be on the lookout. It's going to be a really cool project. Drew says, I'd like some information on the self-healing coating I can give to my customers. I had someone interested in how that worked. Well, absolutely, man. If you need more of a explanation than I just gave, then by all means, we can hop onto a call, or you can type the question in here and I'll answer it for the world. But I'll tell you, the self-healing ceramic coating is a little different chemically than our solvent-based coating. Our solvent-based coatings are kind of a lay it wet and let it sweat technology. Very, very easy to install. And the self-healing coatings are a much thicker, resiny kind of coating. So it's more kind of like a honey or syrup that you're putting on the car, and then you let it sit on there for a minute or so, and then wipe it off. But they're both really easy, and I think that, you know, if you have a car and you're into car care and you're a DIY type of person, I would love to walk you through doing your own car. And if you're here anywhere in Southern California, you know, we could do it together. And the reason that it's not warranted is because we wanted to have something that was an additional offering is basically why we brought that in. We do have it warranted for our OP Select, which is our top tier installers. They have to hit a certain threshold of purchases a month, and they get our 9-year warranted 2-layer self-healing ceramic coating. That's, well, if the charts were right here, it's right over here because it's off the charts, if you will. How do I fix small scratches without professional help? That's a really cool question, and it makes me think of... Well, first, before I do that, that's why it's not warranted. That is why it's not warranted. And also, the self-healing aspect of the coating, while the coating will last a good 5 years, 4 years, 5 years, depending on how you take care of the car, the self-healing aspect of the coating does start to wane after a couple years. So we really, even if we did warranty that, warranting the self-healing aspect would not necessarily be a thing because it is a limited time that it will do that. But the coating itself is very hardy and will have all of the other characteristics of a coating even after that 2-year mark. Okay, how do I fix small scratches myself without professional help? Get yourself some I'm going to say some Owner's Pride compound, and then just take a microfiber towel, put a little bit of that Owner's Pride compound right here, and then just rub on where that scratch is. Rub along with the scratch, go against the grain of the scratch, rub it like that, rub it in circles. And essentially, this is kind of like what we talk about wet sanding and stuff, but if you have a scratch, it's going to be like this. That is what that scratch looks like, right there where there's a V. A lot of times what happens is it's just in the clear coat portion of your paint. So if you round off these edges right here, it doesn't reflect the light out. Before that, it's going to reflect the light out almost like the facets of a diamond. And if you can soften those edges, you might still see a little bit of an indentation where the scratch is, but the scratch just kind of goes away. And that, without professional help, is the best way to fix that. If it's much deeper or if it goes all the way through, then you would have to get some touch-up paint. And if I was going to use touch-up paint, probably the easiest thing would be to order the one that's specifically for your car. Get a little bit of paint reducer and thin it out just a little bit, and they put a really big like fingernail paintbrush in there. Go to an art store and buy the smallest little tiny delicate paintbrush and dip it in a little bit diluted so it's not so thick, and then just put in a little bit of layer, let it dry, put in a little bit more, let that all dry up for a day or two, and then you can try to polish over it. If you don't let it dry up enough, it'll all come right back out, and then you have to start over. And the last question from the DIY side of our Q&A today: what's the most effective way to remove water spots? Well, the most effective way is to not get water spots. Water spots come from well water, from city water, from groundwater that has minerals in it. Water spots does not come from rainwater because there's no minerals in the rainwater. However, if you have a nice layer of dirt on your car and then it rains, do the math. You got dirt, which has minerals in it, and the water sitting on it, and that can indeed make some water spots. So the safest way to not do it is going to be to not let, spray your car down with hose water and just let it dry in the air to make sure that you're getting that off. We have a Spotless is our water spot remover. It's absolutely safe on glass. It's going to be safe. You don't want to soak your hands in it, but it's not going to, burn your skin like a hydrofluoric acid would or something much stronger. And that's going to be the best way. Wash the car so all the dirt is off of it. Spray some of that on there. Let it dwell. If it's a really bad water spot area, you might even get some of it on a towel. Get your towel saturated with the product and then set the towel on top of the surface and just let it sit there and soak. And what happens is the minerals, the slightly acidic minerals, the slight acid will just kind of start melting the minerals and breaking them down, and they'll come off easier. Even if you were going to polish the cards, try to get them off, I would do that step first to loosen the bonds before you try to polish. And yep, that's coming close to wrapping it up. A little bit of a weird day today. It did not go exactly as we planned, but that's what life is and what business is. So let's do our recap here, and I'm just going to kind of read over the notes and see if we even came close to the recap that we were supposed to do. Whether you're a pro or you're a DIYer, ROI in car care is about smart investment and consistent effort. Join the OP Installer Network and take your business to the next level. You can go to ownerspride.com, click on Become an Installer, and we would love to work with you. Not only do we have a great line of detailing products, easy to install ceramic coatings, compliant warranty programs, I am a certified Fix This Next coach, business coach. So we offer mentoring for absolutely for free to anybody in our network who would like it. You go to danwilliams.com, DANNWilliams.com, take your free business assessment. You can work on it by yourself. We can talk about it. You can work on it by yourself. We can make a plan together and, have weekly check-ins and hold you accountable. It's however you want to do it. There's no pressure, but I sure wish that would have been available 20 years ago when I started my business. Yep. Thank you for spending some time with us today. Don't forget to tune in next week. We'll be here every week. And next week, again, we're going to do how to never lose an employee again. Some really great things. There's going to be chock full of actionable items. Leave your questions and comments in the comment section, and we will address them. If you do get one of the emails with questions, then for God's sake, send it back to us with some great questions so we can talk about them on the show. And that, my friends, is going to do it for today. Until next time. You know it. I don't know it because I can't find the darn page to hang up on. Until next time, stay glossy.